Mrs. A. Ayala.
Present.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Here.
Mrs. Germany.
Here.
Mrs. Hines.
Here.
Mrs. Leyba.
Present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item C on our agenda is student recognition.
Morgan Foxhoven and Mr. Mackey here. I see Mr. Mackey. Come on up, buddy.
Oh, for the next meeting. Why is he getting this, Mr. Otto?
What's that?
What's that for?
He is our valedictorian in the 2024 class. And it's super special because I happen to have known David and Morgan both since primary school. I got pretty lucky to have them all 12 years in one way or another, I think, in their education. So congrats, man. Super proud of you.
And Mr. Foxhoven is not here yet, so.
He's a FFA, so.
Oh, yeah. All right then. Moving on to audience portion. Did we have anyone sign up?
No.
Approval of the agenda?
Just like to add the Edgenuity renewal. That is formerly Odyssey-ware. They just upgraded and had a buyout of their software. So it's a renewal we do every year for our online programs and the software just kind of progresses. It's better, more interactive, just being updated.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda with the addition of Ingenuity. To consent agenda?
Recommend we approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Mrs. A. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines. I'm
Aye.
sorry, Mrs. Germany.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines.
Aye.
Mrs. Leyba.
Aye. Minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes from March 25th, 2024 regular board and April 10th, 2024 special board meeting. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Hearing none, roll call.
Mrs. A. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala.
Aye.
Mrs. Germany.
Aye.
Mrs. Hines.
Aye.
Mrs. Leyba.
Aye. Item 4, presentations. Mr. McNerney.
Hello, how's everybody?
Good.
I really need to wear with my hair. And the other principals all make fun of me because I don't give you handouts, so I brought handouts.
All right.
Okay, so I'll just give you a quick update. Right now, we have 139 students at GTA. 85 are on campus 100%, 54 are hybrid students with their cores online and at least 2 electives on campus. Our attendance right now is at 79.9%. That's up from last year of 68.7 the same date. It's not good enough. We're working on it. But if you ask any AEC, attendance is their biggest hurdle. So we're on the right track. We've come up quite a bit. So that's good. We have 38 seniors. 32 will graduate for sure. I think between now and the end of summer recovery, we can get 4 more. And I think the other 2 will have to come back. We'll get them before Christmas. But that's pretty good. 38 seniors is a lot of seniors. I'm pretty proud of that number, and I'm pretty proud of 32 of them, and I'm pretty proud of everybody who works hard. So that's great. Seniors are going on their senior trip on Thursday. Their senior trip is 100% of their own fundraising. Student council trip on Wednesday, same deal, 100% on fundraising. We're going to take a science trip to New Mexico next week. And that's only going to cost us the money to get there, the gas to get there. And then there's a tech trip to Pueblo, which is also, the kids are buying their own way into the trampoline. Okay, so NWA, I don't really like it, but 81% of our students have tested, had testing. The data was 62% of them met their goal. The reading, 80% tested, 55 met their goal, 55%. Language was 82, and that was 11, that's only 7 to 11, and 50% met their goal. Science percent is 58, 58%, 7th through 10th graders, and 51% of them met their goal. So traditionally, NWA stuff falls between fall and winter, but ours kind of went up, so that's a good thing. The thing I don't like, again, is the same as the attendance. I don't get enough kids testing to get really solid data. So I'm proud of the data that we got here. It's moving in the right direction. It's better than last year, and next year will be better too.
So specifically, what do you not like?
Oh, I don't like the fact that I only got 81% of my kids to test.
Oh.
And I think that should be higher.
So what they
It's
know-
not like, there's not an opt-out for this. This is done in the classrooms. And they're either not there on the testing day, and they don't do it on the makeup day, and they're just not real happy with those numbers.
So when they know that's NWA, do they just stay home that day?
I think so. I think so. And I don't know. I can't figure out it. I'm happy that it's going up. It's better than last year. It says right there, last year we only got around 50%, so we went up 30%. So that's good. I started to share some, but now I'm going to share all the good stuff, all the students, the cool stuff that the students do. So every day our tech students film, write, and edit announcements with a lot of help from Mr. Salazar. They have also done video tours of the new bus barn and the kitchen, and which is all.
They have their own separate yearbook, TT?
We do. This year, this is the first year we've done it in separate yearbooks, but kids wanted it. The student council decided that they'd like their own yearbook. So they'll have two, really. They said they'll still be in the high schools, but they'll have a TTA one as well. And I'll share it with you guys so you guys can watch it. The little tour of the kitchen is pretty neat. Okay, so the work kids have been off campus working on off-campus work site. An off-campus work site, we call that a lab. They've been putting up walls for a garage, learning building code, carpentry skills, and such. The art kids are working on their stuff for our art show, which is on the 16th, which is our awards day, which please come, you guys are of course all invited. So they're at the Otero, I want to say OJC, I'm sorry, at the Otero College show, we had more entries and more awards than ever. We had 35 entries and at least 35 entries and at least 20 ribbons. We also, this doesn't say this, but Alex Graham also won a scholarship, or a senior scholarship. The art class is working on at the Lahana Pool yet all today and then tomorrow, I'm not sure about Wednesday, on the fence and murals. This project is, this is a good community project for the students to do as well. It's a community project. And it's pretty neat. They've already got a lot of it up. If you see their thing. So thanks to, so you can. No problem. The science class has been busy. The animal science class has been to a horse training facility. You can read all about that. It was a project where they got to see them train against horses against buffalo. pretty neat. The animal science, food safety took a blue ribbon thing in Fowler, which I think we made a lot of vegetarians. Tour of the processing thing, sorry, which I think we made a lot of vegetarians that day. It was pretty neat too, and that was sponsored through our extension agent. So our Tiger Trades 4-H is really busy for the season. They are gearing up to have lots of different programs, hunter safety, all the way to small animals and stuff like that. Here's the really neat part for us. This is the first, look, this is the only, right now, 4-H club that is a school-sponsored club in the whole state. So it's kind of a neat thing for us. And Mrs. Griffin, who's about to tell you about some of that, she's going to talk about that, plus their leadership thing that they did for 4-H. We have kids participating in Mexican Heritage Project twice a month. We have students taking many different projects. That's the same as the 4-H, sorry. Okay, you can read that all along. Our Go Green class visited recycling center. We're working closely with the recycling center, trying to get a recycling stop at TTA. When we first got TTA, we had a cardboard thing, but they needed it in another building. We have never got it back. We'd like to get that back just to keep the recycling going. Here's the cool thing that the Go Green class does. One of the coolest things that they do is monthly, and sometimes twice a month, they go to Evergreen Gardens and they do art projects with the clients there, and they share lunch, and it's a pretty neat thing. A lot of the residents know all their kids, and they look forward to seeing them. It's pretty neat. There's some cool pictures if you haven't seen them on the website, on the social media sites. So 4-H will continue through the summer. Our summer school will just be some credit recovery for seniors and juniors. And that's kind of where we're going for the summer. And I will, if you would let me, I'd like that Mrs. Griffin and the girls tell you about their 4-H project at Denver.
What time is our award ceremony on the 16th?
Watch out. It's lunch, so it'll start at noon, come over and eat lunch, and it'll probably be around. But yeah, it's going to be hamburgers and hot dogs, stuff like that. So you guys are welcome for lunch.
Thank you.
We'd just like to thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to go to Denver for the week. It was an awesome experience. The girls were able to work with a summer camp for middle schoolers that was hosted by the CSU Spring Break Camp. Thank you, sorry. Spring Break Camp, hosted by CSU. And the girls, I'll let them share some of their leadership activities and share their books and what they did on that part, and I'll add to it.
Some of the leadership things that we did up there was we led the kids during games. We helped them out with their books. We all made books and we just grabbed paper and do a lot of cool stuff that you just want to do. We did some poetry up there. We had like a lot of games for the kids. Easter egg hunt.
That was probably the most
We
popular.
went to go see like this art thing. I'm not really sure what it was.
It was like just around, we got to walk around and experience like a little murals.
The Rhino District, the Art District.
So I got some. It was just, I had some done before them, but I gave them some inspirations. And then there's some I did with them, like this page I did with them. There's also this one was my favorite one to do with them. We got to like choose like a page that we wanted to do, and it was like different schemes.
So it was a perfectly imperfect workshop. And so each day there was a different topic that they worked with. The local extension agents came in and talked to them about different things. And so that's how they base their pages on what they're working on. These girls are also part of our 4-H club at TTA. We're super excited. Like Mr. McNerney said, we are the first Colorado-based 4-H program in the state that has been approved. We have 16 kids. So they have a busy summer, but we have animals showing at the local fair. That's where their general projects will be on display, cake decorating, clothing. We went to a few different workshops. They go Fridays with Miss Marlena to do a cat class, and then they do
Pet pantry.
yes, we do pet pantry the first Friday of every month in Rocky Ford. We also had the opportunity to go to Denver to their actual warehouse and see how that whole process works, and they invited us to go back again in June. So we're pretty excited about all the opportunities that we've had here at TTA, and thank you for allowing us to have those opportunities.
Thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate it.
What is Cat Club?
So Cat Club, do you want to explain that?
Cat Club is basically like you showing your cat off to the judges of how tamed your cat can be and like be around people. Like you get to show off their fur, tell them what kind of cat you have, show them the teeth and the claws and stuff to see if they're like, you know, sharpened or clipped and stuff. And yeah, she's just showing us that right now. We made some cat toys and did like a little page. So it's like your bag, you know, the front cover of your bag. So we did that on a piece of paper.
So we're hoping to have some kids actually exhibit at the state fair with their cat projects. And then if we win at the county level with their journal projects, exhibit at the state fair as well. So, and then they've been doing Mexican Heritage every Friday as well. And so each Friday they have a different project that they learn or a different cooking activity. You can talk about some of those that you've done.
I did miss a couple days because I didn't have work, so I wasn't able to make it. But so far what we have done is choco flan. That one mine didn't come out good, but some of them. But we made some street corn. That was pretty good. Some empanadas, some cookies, but we weren't able to try those. What else? There was this locust things. It was like cucumbers, some peanuts, Mexican candy, and like chili pepper on it. It was good.
And we do have a Spanish club at TTA as well that we were able to start this year. And next Thursday, we're going to go visit CSU Pueblo and kind of see what they have in their cultural area for the kids to maybe branch out for college later on down the road.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for representing PTA in our district so well.
That's really good. I just want to take a minute to also thank Mr. Lovato for being supportive. A lot of my kids would not be engaged in community service and we wouldn't be engaged really much in school, but we've always been supportive and you guys have always been that and make that. So where almost all my kids are involved in something. And I think that's great. So I thank you guys all. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Where do you go on your tech trip when you go to Pueblo next week?
The tech trip is going to the trampoline park to film trampoline stuff for the
Trampoline?
Yeah, they're going to trampoline park.
Okay, and then the trampoline, is that how many days is that?
That's just a day trip. It's just down to, it's like just past Raton.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to be.
No, I think they're going to leave early in the morning, then be back like at 8 o'clock. So, yeah. It should be fun. They're going to take about 15 kids, I think. Maybe a little more. We're taking 2 vans, so I don't know. It's going to be.
You know, TT has really grown substantially since where we first started. Thank you all for your excellent work engaging the kids. Teaching is a labor of love. We all know that, but you guys make it look easy.
Thank you. It's never easy. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is Monty Bruce is here, Lonnie?
Monty Bruce, I think it's in better.
He's in Rocky Ford.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report.
All right. One of the first things with TTA as well, we sampled some cookies at Central Office and was paid some good money for some of the sugar cookies that they made. They were really good. Not so sure my meds agreed with them, but thank you guys. You guys did awesome. Also, taking a little longer to maybe get it rolling, but now that the weather's good, the stencils for the pickleball courts and the basketball courts should be here any day. So And those kids will be part of that process to get all that stuff painted on the outside courts and get everything put together. So super excited for that. There should be 4 pickleball courts and then the basketball courts repainted and new nets and a few other things out there. So let's see here. What's that?
Everyone is also invited to our petting zoo on May 15th. So you can come and we're going to have at least 1 or 2 goats. I don't know.
Did you say 1 or 2 goats? 1 or 2 goats.
You can come to the TTA cats too. No, we'll have a whole bunch of animals. I was kidding around.
I guess I'm curious. Are they the same goats that we did for goat yoga? It's a real thing, by the way. I thought it was a joke. We had goat yoga.
No, that's a thing. That's a real thing.
Oh, I learned.
What time is that?
What time is it? It's at 11. So, and you're welcome to pet one of the TTA cats if you can catch them. You can catch them, pet them, and take them home.
Oh, the TTA cats are like school cats?
Well, they're wild cats.
No, they're wild cats that have lived there.
We can't catch them. We've been trying to catch them all year.
Sound like
Trying to catch them for 2 years.
2 years.
That's
We
what
was
you
trying
want.
to catch them. We're going to catch them this summer. We know it.
Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic. Everything kind of ties together. Right now the preliminary budget is pretty rough because the state hasn't totally finalized obviously what we're going to get. They're in the process of rewriting the funding formula, which won't really take place till the 25-26 year, but there are some things that will affect school districts. And for us, it's kind of a hit and miss because we are not small enough to be considered small rural and not big enough to be an urban area. And so we hope that they give us the factors that they include to help supplement our funding are at-risk numbers. Just to kind of give you a picture of where we are, we're upwards of 20%, maybe even a little more special education with our students. The average statewide is about 12 to 13 now, I think. We're going to have to revamp our entire special education, how we do things and what we're doing. We met, our MTSS group met at the BOCES on Friday. That's headed by Haley Romero, our social worker. And in conjunction with Sandy Maloff and Natalie, the new director they're gonna switch roles next year. We're really looking at a different way to look at things and maybe a different way to be more efficient. But the funding is gonna be a challenge. Although our enrollment has dropped some in comparison to local area schools, only one other school in our area has a better rate of retention. I think they're at like 1% in terms of how much they've lost in the last 5 years. We lost about 5% of our kids. There are a couple of districts in our area that lost 20%, 18%, 12%. So really, we're not down what I feel we're down, but I also don't know year to year what that's going to look like. So I've been pretty pessimistic, and I've been really kind of a Debbie Downer in terms of how I'm approaching the budget for next year, but I just don't want anybody surprised. That being said, looking at the meet and confer notes, everything revolved around more money for staff and services and those kinds of things. One of the questions that junior senior high school had, I'm not sure why they didn't understand we did. We do have a business manager, and Heather's been around all year, and we do have a dedicated financial person who honestly, of all the ones I've worked with, is the best trained because we actually went through a pretty intensive CDE program to get that done. So I'm very confident in what she can do and what she's going to do in the future. I think the bigger question centered around HR and payroll. We call ADP the gift that keeps on giving. We still cleaning things up every now and then, but by and large, when we had the meet and confer, we had what we thought was a massive glitch. It turned out to be 4 total employees, and 2 of the 4 had nothing to do with anything we did. It was just a misunderstanding over new tax codes. But that being said, when we went through with ADP, we had 4 HR people in about a 6-month window a couple of years ago. everybody knows what we've been through, but I really do have confidence in where we're going. But there's always something new to learn when it comes to how things are done. One thing that we're trying to do in June, and I don't want to steal Dawn's thunder, but in June we're trying to bring in somebody who can explain the tax forms that people fill out with I-9, no, W-4. They all have a different. I think it's W-4. W-2 is what we get in January, and W-4 is what we fill out. To explain what that means, how that works, also how to navigate into the system, our payroll system, so that they can check on their own, make sure their stubs are right. I don't know, since I've been here, it's really never been done, and I think people just kind of get comfortable and like, well, I get paid every month, and they didn't really look. Since the changes we went through, people are paying attention. I'm a little upset, or I guess disappointed. We put out an HR newsletter monthly since the beginning of the year, and very few people really read it. And so it's frustrating because a lot of the questions that come in really could have been answered. But we're going to really try in June to put some information out there, and also bring some outside folks in that'll help maybe be available for people to ask questions, because we were given very strict understanding or strict rules that we are not to give employees advice on how they should take their deductions. That is not our role, so we have to really kind of walk the line there. We want to be helpful, but we got kind of, I don't know, because I think people expected us to fix some of those things, and really that's not what we're supposed to do. So we learned a lesson in that as well. Cost of living raise is something else the high school brought up. This year, right now, we're looking at just steps and lanes, which is an $850 on the certified side. I think the lowest monetary raise is going to be about $500 on the classified side. If you want to compare that, I did notice another school district in our area just bumped their starting salary to like $42,000, but their steps are $450 a year. Ours are $850, which is a little over 2% of our base. That's really hard to find in any school district, west or east of Pueblo. So I'm comfortable with that. On the insurance side, we got really, I thought, positive news. If you're ever in single digits on an insurance raise, that's a good thing. And right now we're looking at just under 6%, which if we were able to give a $50 boost per person per month, which is a $600 a year benefit, in addition to the $750 they're getting, we're able to cover the increased cost for every person who takes single coverage. Family or employee spouse, we'd be a little below that, but no one would essentially take a pay cut. What I'm saying a pay cut is, sometimes we get a step raise, and that step raise doesn't cover. So let's say we were in a district where your step was $500. If your insurance premium went up $530, it looks like a raise on paper, and you're losing $30 a month more to pay for your benefits. If we're able to get $50 a month, we're actually able to absorb that cost, so that the step raise that people get actually goes to their pocket. So I'm excited about that. The challenge is I've got to find a way to get that $50 built in, and I'm really working on that. We just had the meeting on Thursday, and like I said, we're not looking at changing carriers, which is awesome. That was one of the things that was asked of us, if we could do that, and now it's just a matter of trying to work the numbers. The broker we had here last Thursday that met with us said there was only one other district that he works with that's even close to comparing what we pay our employees for their insurance benefits. So that made me feel good. It's not perfect, but it could be worse, I guess. So building needs, roofing, plumbing, some of those aging type of things we're going to continue to work at. I led the tours on Friday with the potential superintendents. I did let them know that somewhere down the line soon we're going to need either a new roof or a new building. And so it's on the radar. for the secondary school. This building will be painted and should be finished before the end of June. That's on my bucket list. Trying to hold myself accountable for somebody else to get their job done by the end of June. Let's pray for good weather. If it's raining and lightning, I don't think I'll get anybody on the cupola, even if it's somebody as brave as Mr. Haberman is. Building needs is what I just hit. The instructional coaching piece, that's a tough call because obviously that's more infrastructure, and we've got some pretty good. Since I started here, we've added an assistant principal in every building, and so it's hard to try to find places in the budget where we might not be getting as much from the state next year, but adding positions that we consider administrative. That's really kind of a tough sell, but not an impossibility, but I don't know how and where in the budget I can fit that right now. Superintendent, I guess that's the elephant in the room, here in hopefully just a few minutes. The board will be able to make a decision. I'm in the dark as anybody else. I don't know how that's going to go. I did meet all three, and they were super nice people, and was able to visit with each of them a little bit. So we'll see how that goes, but that should be just to kind of understand the process. We'll make the decision this evening, or the board will, and then it's up to the new person and the board to negotiate the contract. Hopefully, they accept whatever offer the board gives them, and we don't have to go through the process again. There are outside chances, even if we choose that all three could decline, and we may go back to the drawing board. Or the board could say, I think we should reopen it and see if we can maybe get more applications. That's entirely a board decision, but that's where we're at this evening. TTA has some building improvements, obviously the gym and those kinds of things. A lot of that's waiting until summer because we're going to have to do some construction with walls and things in the gym area. The electrical issues that were brought up, I believe, have been addressed. Ken?
Yeah.
Staff lunch, I don't have that built into the budget yet. Every teacher or person who has lunch duty will continue to get their meal paid for, but doing it district-wide for every person, I don't have that number and what that's going to look like yet. Let's see here. Salary schedule for right now is kind of going to stand pat. There are some things that I would like to leave for the new person to be able to have a heavier hand in. That would be one of those. And outside of that, I think paper budgeting, in all fairness, we have almost tripled the amount of paper we've used since I started here. I think that's a combination of being a little bit more conscientious as well as making sure that we have an adequate supply for the staff. Outside of that, I don't have anything else that's
May meeting. The May meeting, it falls on Memorial Day.
Oh, the May meeting falls on Memorial Day, so we're moving all meetings to July. Did I do that? Just kidding. Yeah, the May meeting is going to be on a different day. Did we pick a day, Joe?
I'm thinking maybe May 20th. I don't know what everybody's schedule.
We'll have to look at schedules because the end of May is really, really crazy, and we get graduations, not just ours, but a lot of families. And so we'll have to really look. Board members will send a doodle poll to try to come up with a good day that meets everybody's and accommodates them. Along with that, we will likely have at least one special board meeting before I leave to go through some budget discussion and the possibility of maybe we may have to have an executive session type special meeting for the board to do negotiations with the new superintendent. I don't know that for sure. That's really kind of up to you guys, but I wanted to be transparent with the public that that's a possibility that would occur. The meeting itself would be public, and there would be no decisions made in the executive session, but the discussion over a contract negotiation falls under the guidelines for an executive session. Okay, now I think I'm ready. Okay.
Any questions? Not ready to move on. Okay. New business. Selection of superintendent. So we had 3 finalists. We had 2 interview committees made up of different community members, teachers, parents, admin, and it was a long day on Saturday of the interview process, and they had 3 sessions. And I think to be professional, instead of just going through each of them and giving pros and cons, we're just going to go ahead and open up for a motion for the candidate that you feel should be the next superintendent, and then we will go ahead and discuss pros and cons depending on how we feel about that specific one. So I'll entertain a motion for a nomination of superintendent.
I would make a motion to recommend Dr. James Blanco for superintendent. Second.
We have a motion and a second to recommend or choose Dr. James Reese Blanco. Discussion.
I think Dr. Blanco's leadership was strong, and he has experience. He can come in and help us get out of the turnaround that we're in. And I think he has the qualities that we need to move the district forward.
Stacey, we'll go around.
There's a lot of positives with him. I did like a lot of the stuff when I read his application. It was really good. And then when we did the interview process, I was happy that it wasn't the opposite. So I would definitely probably go with him too. I think he's probably our best option.
Anything there?
I thought that his commitment to researching our districts, our community, our situations and problems that we're currently having, he really took it upon himself to figure out what those were. He came in prepared. He came in with quite the presentation of his abilities and what he could do to help us. I was thoroughly impressed by that. I'm concerned about longevity, but I thought he presented himself very well.
He was very charismatic. He was very aggressive, very polished, almost like a motivational speaker. I had a few concerns. I don't know if I should go into them, but I did have. Shall I go into them? One of them was he's very excited about being an adjunct professor or teaching a course at Pueblo. And he said, I'll just right down the road so I can do this job easily and teach in Pueblo. His philosophy also is if a teacher, he believes in rewarding teachers with money on an individual basis. And that's a way to just pit teachers one against the other, which I disagree with. He had plenty of materials to give us. He gave us books and pictures and all sorts of things. So he's very, very polished. And that's my observations.
So my positives for Dr. Blanco are really echo a lot of what each has said. I do think that he did a lot of research on our district. I I like that in his upbringing, he was mostly brought up by his grandparents, which is a lot of our students are in that kind of situation, so I feel like that he could resonate with that. I know that he has in previous districts been able to pull them up from struggling with achievement or getting new innovative ways to have more involvement with students, like things outside of the box. I think with his experience and age that it is something that would be a good fit for La Junta to get us out of turnaround and then get us into that state of, if he's here for 3 to 5 years. He said 5 to 7, but I'm thinking it might be 3 to 5. Then that does get us into a more stable position for another superintendent to come in and take over. But I think that this kind of leadership is something that we're looking for right now. And I really would rather we did not go without a superintendent and start the process over, because I think he's a qualified candidate. Are there any other concerns or anything else anyone would like to add?
I think Darlene addressed the ones I had too, so.
Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. Durbany?
Nay.
Mrs. Hines?
Aye.
Mrs. Laba?
Aye. And with that, moving on to item B.
I recommend that we renew Capturing Kids' Hearts for the amount of $19,000.
So moved. I have a motion and a second to approve the renewal of Capturing Kids' Hearts program in the amount of $19,000 as presented. Questions or comments?
This is for the intermediate too, right?
Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. Durbany? Aye. Mrs. Hines?
Aye.
Mrs. Laba?
Aye. Item C.
I recommend we approve the declaration for a critical shortage of teachers and bus drivers.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the declaration of critical shortage of teachers and bus drivers as presented. Questions or comments? Did you want to explain what that means?
All right, so with a critical shortage, it allows certified retired people or certified licensed bus drivers to come out of retirement and keep their retirement and work full-time. They call it a double dip, and they can do a minimum of 140 days if they're retired and work. It waives some of those things so that it benefits the worker more, but also gives the district a better opportunity to get certified folks in those positions. And so we have a couple of people in that role right now, a bus driver, a teacher, and although we're continuing to looking at the vacancies that we know we're going to face, and the toughness we've had, we'd love to be able to kind of move forward with that.
Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. Durbany?
Aye.
Mrs. Hines?
Aye.
Mrs. Laba?
Aye. Item D.
Recommend that we approve the certified staff renewals as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve resolutions 2024-2N, 2024-2P, and 2024-3. Certified staff employment for the 2024-25 school year. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. Durbany?
Aye.
Mrs. Hines?
Aye.
Mrs. Laba?
Aye. Item E.
Edgenuity is our platform for our credit recovery and our online platform for TTA. It used to be Odysseyware, and Edgenuity actually bought them out a few years ago, but we kept the old software. Now we're at a point where we really need to upgrade the software and keep up with the times, so to speak. We've typically tried to get this out of grant funds, whether it was ESSER or Title. I'm still going to try to do that. We just got our allocations, our preliminary allocations for our federal funds over the weekend, and I have not looked. I was told by the state in our state meeting that overall I think they cut $5 million from the federal funding statewide for this upcoming year. So it might be a little lower than what we're used to, but this is a pretty solid necessity to get the solids, our core classes available, plus our credit recovery for our high school kids. So just recommend we approve the Edgenuity software for $41,500.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second to approve renewal of Edgenuity software in the amount of $41,500 as presented. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. S. Ayala?
Aye.
Mrs. Durbany? Aye. Mrs. Hines?
Aye.
Mrs. Leyba?
Aye. Board comments.
I guess I'd just like to thank everyone who actively sat in the groups for the search of a new superintendent. All the candidates were coming. It was not an easy day. And I think just making the decision tonight was not the hardest. I think we've got our work cut out for us. Thanks, Rick.
All of us are a little miffed. Thank you for TTA giving us a presentation. I really enjoy learning about everything that y'all are doing over there. I didn't know that we had the only school-sponsored 4-H club. That's exciting, and I really look forward to seeing more things from that school. And did you say what time? Oh, lunch time, right? Are the students cooking? They usually do, right? For
Yeah, they usually cook the hamburgers, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a kid, I can't keep away from that grill. He loves it.
Yeah.
Good, that's a good life skill.
He loves it.
And then also, again, graduation is coming up, and I just want to, I usually do every year, but I really do mean thank you to our families for giving us the privilege of being part of this milestone in their lives. It's always an emotional night for everybody, this time for me especially, but we look forward to them all moving on to their next step. Anyone else? With no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.